The video you're about to see was compiled to understand how the process works through the unification and consolidation of PSAPs, the public safety answering points. Well, through that process, some of them are very short, some of them are very lengthy. The people that are going to speak in this video will include several politicians, several first responders, and there will be some administrators from city and county governments, so they can tell you the process that they've gone through so we can learn from those mistakes and not make them again and try to streamline the process in the future.
To consolidate 911 centers or public safety answering points, it takes a lot of open communication, a lot of dialogue with elected officials. It takes a lot of transparency to make sure that everybody's open to the process. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of patience to go through the consolidation process.
They usually start out with some informal meetings with the public safety personnel. They get together and approach the political figures in the community, city councils, county commissioners, and the mayor with their ideas of what they would like to do to consolidate them. Normally, in a lot of areas, the county commissioners establish an ordinance that sets up a board to oversee the study on whether they want to do it or not, and ultimately oversee the policies and procedures and things that they're going to do to make it work.
A lot of patience and ability to work together with all the agencies that we've had to deal with. You got your townships, you got your city and towns, you got the city of Anderson, and they're all used to having their own power. To have them give up that power of who they're going to hire, what they're going to do, the budgeting part, it takes a lot of work and patience, so it doesn't happen overnight.
In Madison County, we had 4 PSAPs, or dispatch centers, that we needed to consolidate per the state of Indiana's new rules down to 2 or either to 1. We looked at it as, let's solve the easier problem and get rid of the 2 that were in the smallest cities, and then we were allowed to have the 1 in the largest and then the county. After we'd solved the first one, then we went ahead and put our public safety board together and had them really operate as part of that consolidation and part of that negotiation process between the county and the city. The Public Safety Board was put together by the county commissioners, and we really wanted an even balance of fire, police, and emergency management folks on there. We did not want a political board, so you won't find any elected officials on our board whatsoever. The ultimate decision does come back to the county commissioners, and the board itself operates on its own pretty much independently with oversight from the commissioners.
Normally you come up with who's going to be on the board, and it's pretty simple usually. The sheriff usually on it, the chief of police of the largest city, the fire chief of the largest city, the emergency management director for the county, and if the city has one, they would be on it also. The fire chiefs usually in other parts of the county will have a mutual aid association, and they will elect 1 or 2 members to the board. We try to keep the board fairly equal so you have a good representation from all the emergency services. Fire departments, we all work together with all of the fire departments and with the cities and towns that are throughout the area. So it's important that you include them as members of the board and that they feel that they are part of the process and will see that it gets done. As the process goes on, they will establish memorandums of understanding between the agencies involved. It's important that the key figures are in favor of the program or it won't go forward. And you're really creating a separate new entity of a public safety answering point. So there's a lot to be considered. It's not something that they just move the dispatchers over to one pot. It takes a lot of time, but different departments have different procedures and those have to be worked out. So there won't be any lapse in dispatching coverage and things like that.
Interlocal agreements are the main piece of a PSAP consolidation. That's where agencies basically in writing agree between local government agencies on how the consolidation process is going to go. Answer the big ticket items, how many employees are going to stay, what the employees are going to make, who's going to run the center, who's going to pay for the center. where the centers are going to be. All that's established in interlocal agreements, and that's when you get the elected bodies and each agency involved with it. MOUs are more of a lower level agreement between it. Interlocals are the big ticket for PSAP consolidation.
MOUs are basically entities which combine together and they draft legislation or a document which says, hey, we enter into agreement. It's a contract form. We're going to do this together for a period of time. Here's our money, our resources. But MOUs get pretty laborious, a lot of energy in that, because you have to go to these different agencies or cities or towns and kind of bring them the mission of the project. So these MOUs are very important in making sure that the politicians, the city leaders, public safety leaders, police chiefs, fire chiefs, volunteer, and how you can group these entities to all perform basic public safety services. And that's why MOUs have to be tweaked. They have to be authored the right way. There's always interest for everybody included. So they're very important.
We had 5 911 centers, so depending on where your emergency was, if you called 911, you could be transferred anywhere from 1 to 2 times. That adds time to the response, which means that's even delayed response to getting somebody help on the street. So if it's all done in one centralized center, and help can get to the citizens quicker, that's our job. There's a lot to it, not only the building of the new building, the integration of the technology, the finding the funding for the interlocal agreements, a lot of personnel issues, a lot of bringing personalities together. We have 5 911 centers. We have 37 full-time employees, so there's 37 different personalities, 37 different experiences that all have to be meshed together. We dispatch for 21 agencies, so meshing out how operationally you mash 21 agencies to work all together in one way instead of 20 different ways. I try to not make it the director says. I try to do group involvement with it, but moral story's challenging.
The Board of Public Safety are very much for this. They passed the MOU. They heard my recommendation, my affirmed recommendation. I think they were very much on board with everything. There's a lot of moving parts in this configuration. And if you don't have those people with good talent and good skill, you will never achieve, I think, what I call successful consolidation.
PSAP consolidation, depending on your side of it, has a negative connotation to it because it's change. But at the end of the day, I wholeheartedly feel that by having all the phones answered and all the resources available in one center, that we are providing a better product to the citizens of Johnson County. We are able to get them help in their time of need quicker than we were before, and it eliminates a lot of points of failure and transfers. So at the end of the day, there's funding dilemmas, there's technology dilemmas with it, but at the end of the day, it is a benefit to the community.